Hey guys, today we are going to be focusing on money word problems. We're going to be using a book called I Can Do Money Word Problems by Rebecca Wingard Nelson. This is our second lesson in math and distance learning. For today's lessons, our expectations are to stay focused on the lesson, find a quiet spot to work, be prepared to use your brain, and listen and follow instructions. We have 3 materials, but the only 2 you need to go and get are your pencil and paper. So go ahead and pause the video here and come back when you have your materials. Here's a picture of the actual book we are using today because most of the word problems come from the book, but we don't have pictures of the book itself. All right, so we always start with our 2 questions. What will I be learning and what will it look like? So our agenda for the day is we're going to introduce the topic, which was money. We're going to review money, so we'll review the values of coins and dollar bills. Number 3, I do, we do, you do. So I will do a problem for you, then you're going to work it with me, and then you'll do it by yourself. And then number 4, pause and answer questions. So throughout the video, we'll have many times that you're going to pause and answer questions. And then number 5, we'll come back and reflect at the very end. Our 2 standards and outcomes are in I can statements, so I can solve word problems involving dollar bills, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies using the money sign and the cent symbols appropriately. I can also fluently add and subtract within 100. I went ahead and added an example of what your paper should look like when we do our pause and think questions. So first you'll number your paper, then you'll think about the question and then answer the question. So make sure you're thinking thoroughly before you answer your questions. On this slide, we have the values of the dollars and cents. I went ahead and made this because I know you know most of them, but in our word problems, it's very, very, very important for you to know all the values off the top of your head, so that way you can easily answer your problems without having to refer back to this page. So first we have our dollar bill. I went ahead and put the fronts and the backs for you. So we have our dollar bill. This is our $5 bill, our $10 bill, our $50 bill, and a $100 bill. As you can see in all of the dollars, it gives you the value on every single one. So at the bottom it says $1, $5, $10, $50, $100. So our dollars are very, very easy for us to tell which one's which because it tells us on the actual dollar. Now our cents are a little bit different. So our cents, it does say on the back of the coin how much it is, but if you're just looking at the front, it might be a little more difficult for you to tell. So first we have our penny, which is 1 cent. So we have the new back right here, but I also included a picture of the old back in case you weren't quite sure the difference. They are the same. So as long as it's this color, it is a penny. All right, so our nickels, dimes, and quarters are all the same color, so they're a little more hard to tell the difference between, but our nickels are a little larger in size than our pennies. So the nickel is 5 cents. I also went ahead and put our new front of the nickel, and this is the old front of the nickel. So they're both nickels, just one's old and one is new. The next coin we have is our dime. The dime is around the same size as a penny, except for it's 10 cents. So our penny is 1 cent and our dime is 10 cents. So 10 pennies is the same as 1 dime. So they're about the same in size, but this is what the front looks like and this is what the back looks like. Then we have our quarter, which is 25 cents. This is basically what it's always looked like. And it is the biggest in size. So you can definitely tell the difference between the quarter and the rest of them. On the back of each one, it gives us the value. So on the back of the penny, it says 1 cent. Then on the back of the nickel, 5 cents. On the back of the dime, it says 1 dime, but we know 1 dime is 10 cents. And then on the back of the quarter, it says $quarter. So on the dime and the quarter, you do have to know the values. It doesn't give it. So it does make our cents a little more difficult for us to remember. So our first pause and think question is going to be, what do the dollar bills have in common? And what do the coins have in common? Go ahead and answer that question. And when you're done, come back to the video. All right, so here is our coin review for extra practice. So like I was saying, our dollar bills are a lot more easy for us to know the values of because it says it plain and clear on the front, but our coins are a little more difficult. So we're just gonna go over our coins quickly so that way you have a lot easier time when we go to our word problems. So the directions say listen to the song once and again, twice for fun. If you just wanna listen to it again, that's perfectly fine. Try to sing along if you start to get the words. And then after listening, see which coins you remember. Make sure you remember all of the coins before you go on in the video.
We jingle and we jangle, you see us all around. In a piggy bank or pocket, or even on the ground. We come in different sizes, we do not look the same. I wonder if you know each of the four of us by name. Four of us by name. I'm a President Lincoln penny, a coin that is worth 1 cent. When you save a lot of us, together we can be well spent. I'm a shiny 5-cent nickel. President Jefferson is who you see. If you give someone 5 pennies, you'll get back 1 of me. We jingle and we jangle, you see us all around. In a piggy bank or pocket, or even on the ground. We come in different sizes, we do not look the same. I wonder if you know each of the four of us by name. I'm a very thin little dime with President Roosevelt's face. If you have 2 nickels or 10 pennies, then they can take my place.
I'm a shiny George Washington quarter, the largest coin of the 4. I equal 1 nickel and 2 dimes, worth 25 cents at the store.
We jingle and we jangle, you see us all around. In a piggy bank or pocket, or even on the ground. We come in different sizes, we do not look the same. I wonder if you know each of the four of us by name. We jingle and we jangle, watch for us all around. Sometimes we are lost, but we are also often found. Now you know each coin by name, by value, and by face. Make sure to save us up and keep us in a safe place. Keep us in a safe place.
All right, so our first money word problem is going to be an I do. So I'm basically just going to talk through the problem and you're going to listen and follow along. So there are 4 steps we can use to solve word problems about money. So first we're going to read the problem. So the problem says, Jacob has 2 dimes and 3 pennies. How many cents does Jacob have? So down here, I went ahead and gave us what the coins look like. So our dimes, 2 dimes and 3 pennies. The second one says, plan how to solve the problem. So how are we going to solve the problem? So the first question I ask is, what does the problem ask you to find? So I'm going to go back to the problem, and the problem asks me, how many cents does Jacob have? Okay, so it's asking, how many cents does he have? Then our second question we can ask ourselves is, how can you find the answer? You can count the value of the coins that Jacob has. So we know how much a dime is, and we know how much a penny is. So a dime is 10 cents, and a penny is 1 cent. So then we're going to go to our third step, which is follow the plan. So whatever plan we made in the second step, we're going to follow it in our third. So count the value of the coins. First, count by 10s for the dimes, then count on by 1s for the pennies. So we have 1 dime right here, and we have our second dime. So we know it's 10 cents and 10 cents. Kind of like when we did repeated addition, just 10 plus 10 we know equals 20. So then we have our pennies, which each equal 1 cent. So 3 pennies equals 3 cents. So we're gonna go ahead and add our 20 cents from our 2 dimes and our 3 cents from our 3 pennies, and we have 23 cents. So Jacob has 23 cents. So then we're gonna check our work. Did we use the right coins? Let's double check. In our problem, we said Jacob has 2 dimes, so we have our 2 dimes and 3 pennies. So yeah, we use the right types of coins. Then we have count the value of the coins again. So we know the value is 10 cents for a dime. So 10 plus 10 is 20. Then we know a value of a penny is 1 cent. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3 cents. So yes, we did get the values correct. And then when we add 20 cents plus 3 cents, we equal 23 cents. So yes, I double checked my work. I got the same answer, so I know I'm right. One thing I want you to notice in our word problem is that I put the cent sign after our cents, after the value. So make sure you are doing that when you are writing cents. That is very important. I'm going to move on to a we do problem. So it's going to be both me and you working on this problem. I won't be doing it for you, but you won't be doing it alone. So number 1, we read the problem. What does the problem say? Our problem says Ben had 50 cents. He found a quarter. How much money does Ben have in all? So there are a lot of ways he could have already had 50 cents, but I went ahead and made it a little easier for you and gave you 2 quarters already. So 1 quarter is 25 cents. So 2 quarters is 50 cents. So I went ahead and gave you your 50 cents already. Then it says, how much money does Ben have in all? So he found another quarter. So our pause and think question number 2 on your paper is you're going to plan how to solve the problem, but I want you to write it down. So answer this. What does the problem ask you to find, and how can you find the answer? So go ahead and pause the video here, answer that question, and when you're ready, come back to the video. Our third step in this problem is follow the plan. So whatever plan you just decided to do in number 2, you're going to bring it over to number 3. How much money did Ben start with? So it's one of the first things we had to figure out. We know he started with 50 cents. So what did Ben find? In the problem, it says he found a quarter. So we went ahead and added another quarter. What is the value of the quarter? Remember when we first talked about this and in the very beginning of the video, we learned that a quarter equals 25 cents. So the value of the quarter he just found was 25 cents. So that means we're going to have to add the 50 cents he already had with the 25 cents he just found. So 50 cents plus 25 cents equals 75 cents. If it makes it easier and you want to draw that vertically on your paper, you can do that without the cent sign. But whenever you get your actual total, go ahead and add the cent sign at the end. So Ben has 75 cents. At the very end, we're going to check our work. Did you use the same numbers from the problem? So on the problem, it said Ben had 50 cents. So even if we used 5 dimes or whatever you wanted to use, we used 2 quarters in this scenario. Did we use the same number? Did we use 50 cents? Yes, we used 50 cents with our 2 quarters. Did you use the correct value for a quarter? So did we use 25 cents to match our quarter? Yes, we did. So we can go back and double check our answer. 50 cents plus 25 cents equals 75 cents, and that is correct. If you go back and do the same problem and get the same answer, you are most likely correct. So now it's time to move on to one that you can do on your own. So in this problem, you're going to do this one by yourself, but I'm going to read through it for you and pause when you need to answer it by yourself. So number 1, we're going to first read our problem. The problem says, Trina had 3 dimes and 4 pennies. Annie had 1 quarter and 3 nickels. Who had more money? So I went ahead and gave us Trina's 3 dimes and 4 pennies. And then I went ahead and gave Annie her 1 quarter and 3 nickels. So our third pause and think question is plan how to solve the problem. So just like on our second pause and think question, when you had to plan how to solve the problem, you're going to do the same thing on your paper. So what did the problem ask you to find, and how can you find the answer? So go ahead and pause the video here, answer your question, and come back. Our third step is to follow the plan. So our fourth pause and think question is, how much money did Trina have? So you're going to count the value of 3 dimes and 4 pennies. I'm going to go ahead and pause right here and give you a second. So our fourth pause and think question is, how much money did Trina have? So you're going to count the value of 3 dimes and 4 pennies. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video and come back when you're finished. So our fifth pause and think question is, how much money did Annie have? So now you're going to count the value of 1 quarter and 3 nickels. So if you need to go back to the visual right here, you are welcome to do that. I will also go back to the page and show you the values in case you are struggling. Now on our sixth pause and think question, you're going to answer, which is more? Blank had more money than blank. That's what we're trying to answer. I'm going to go ahead and bring us to the page that had all the values. So you can go ahead and pause right here and figure out the values of the coins that you need, and then go back and double check your answers. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and check our You-Do problem. We already read the problem together, so we're going to move on to the pause and think question, number 3, and we're going to see if you got the answer correct. So number 2, plan how to solve the problem. What did the problem ask you to find? If we go back to the problem, it wanted you to count how much money each girl had. So how can we find the answer? Then we'll have to compare the 2 values to see who had more. Let's go to the third step where we're going to go through questions 4, 5, and 6. Number 4 said, how much money did Trina have? Count the value of 3 dimes and 4 pennies. You should have gotten 34 cents. On our fifth pause and think question, it says, how much money did Annie have? You're going to count the value of 1 quarter and 3 nickels, and Annie had 40 cents. So the pause and think question number 6 asks, which is more? So who had more money? Annie had more money than Trina. That should have been your answer. So number 4, check your work. You should have went back and double checked your values for each coin, but did you count the same amounts when you went back and checked? If you got the answer, Annie had more money than Trina, you got it correct. So we're going to go ahead and move on to dollar bills. We're going to start with a We-Do problem because we're using the same steps as we would have been through all of the word problems. So number 1 is read the problem. Our problem says, Sienna had $6. She used $2 to pay for her lunch. How many dollars does Sienna have left? So I went ahead and put $6 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I went ahead and drew a lunch tray to show that she bought a lunch tray with 2 of the $6. So our 7th pause and think question is, plan how to solve the problem. What does the problem ask you to find, and how can you find the answer? So go ahead and pause the video right here, answer that question, and come back when you're finished. For our 3rd step, we're going to follow the plan. So whatever plan you chose for the step 2, we're going to use for the 3rd one. So Sienna started with $6 and she spent 2. So I went ahead and brought our $6 over to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you can tell, I made 2 of the dollars a little bit lighter so you could see that she spent 2 of the dollars. So we're just going to count how many she has left. She has 1, 2, 3, 4. She has $4 left. So $6 minus $2 equals $4. Sienna has $4 left. So go back and check your work. Did you start with the right amount? We saw that she had $6. We did have $6 up here. Did we subtract the right amount? The problem says she used $2 to pay for her lunch, so we took away $2. And then check your subtraction using addition. So we did practice this a little bit in class, but it is kind of hard. So if we wanted to check our subtraction using addition, we would use the same numbers to add and see if we get 6. So we could add 2 to 4 or 4 to 2 and get 6. You're going to do this one by yourself, but I am going to read through the problem with you. Just like the other You-Do problem, there are a few places to pause and think, but I will tell you when to pause, so don't worry about that. The first part says, read the problem. Emily has a $10 bill. A poster cost $5. A book cost $6. Does she have enough money to buy the poster and the book? Let's look. So our poster was $5 and her book is $6 and all she has is a $10 bill. So the 8th pause and think question says, plan how to solve the problem. So how are you going to solve this problem? What did the problem ask you to find and how can you find the answer? So go ahead and pause the video here, answer that question, and press start when you're finished. For the third part, it says follow the plan. So whatever plan you created for number 2, you're going to use for number 3. Pause and think number 9. Add the cost of the poster and the cost of the book. So you'll go back to the problem and see how much the poster cost and how much the book cost, and then you're going to add those two together. So go ahead and pause the video here, answer that question, and press play when you're finished. For pause and think number 10, it says the poster and the book together cost blank. So what was the total that you got from your pause and think number 9? Go ahead and answer that question and press play when you're finished. Pause and think number 11, does Emily have enough money to buy both? So when you added those two costs together, was it more than $10 or less than $10? So does she have enough money to buy both the book and the poster? Go ahead and answer that question and press play when you are ready to check your work. Moving on to our last step of our word problems, check your work. So double check if you added correctly. Go ahead and check your work and then press play when you're finished and we'll go and check our work all together. All right, so we already read the problem together. That's not something we need to check. So we'll move on to our 8th pause and think question. So double check your answers on your paper. What did the problem ask you to find? So our problem asked us to find if Emily had enough money for the poster and the book together by asking, does she have enough money to buy the poster and the book? How can you find the answer? We can add the cost of the book and the cost of the poster to find what they cost together. We're going to move on to our 3rd step, which is following our plan that we set in step 2. So pause and think number 9 asks, add the cost of the poster and the cost of the book. So we went ahead and added $5 for the poster and $6 for the book, cost $11. So double check on your paper if you got $11 for pause and think number 9. For pause and think number 10, it says the poster and the book together cost $11. Double check on your paper if you got $11 for pause and think number 10. Pause and think number 11 asked, does Emily have enough money to buy both? So when we added the two together, we got $11, but she only had 10. So Emily does not have enough to buy a poster and a book together. Double check if you got that correct. Our 4th step is always to check our work. So did you add correctly? I know that 5 plus 5 equals $10. So if I had to add 5 plus 6, it's going to be 1 more than 10, meaning 5 plus 6 equals 11. So if something cost $11 and I only have 10, I can't buy it. Now we have made it to our reflection, so we're going to go over our objectives one more time to make sure that we covered them. So I can solve word problems involving dollar bills, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies using dollar signs and cent symbols appropriately. So we did that the whole PowerPoint today. And then I can fluently add and subtract within 100. So we had to fluently be able to add and subtract to answer our questions. So our last question, our pause, reflect, and record question is, what is a question that you still have about money? What is something that maybe I didn't answer today that you still want me to answer? Go ahead and pause the video and reflect on that on your paper. All right, so we've reached the end of our lesson today, but it is due Sunday, May 3rd by 5 p.m. It was moved back. It's normally due on Friday, but this week it is due on Sunday. So thank you for trying your very, very best today. I know math can be a little hard sometimes, but if you have any questions at all, please send them to me over text or Classroom Dojo. I'll see you soon. Bye.